Good afternoon. We are back. Last week we had a little technical difficulties, but today I am here and excited to talk with you again. Welcome to another wonderful Winning Wednesday. I am your host, Sabrina Wood, also known on Instagram as Sabrina the Co-Strategist. I'm a thriving mom that teaches women to reshape their mindset to design the life of their dreams by experiencing financial freedom. So today we're going to dive right in, share a little bit about what I wanted to talk to you all about last week, as well as some new things that are going on also. First, I just want to say thank you for continuing to show up. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the likes. And I hope that you keep sharing and keep liking. And as always, I'm going to keep talking as long as you're listening. But today I want to dive in and talk to you about what's in you. This month I said we're really going to focus on being mindful and tapping into what's already into you is how we're going to be mindful today. A little bit of gratitude. Just want to say thank you for the continued follows. The new people that have joined, thank you so much. There's been a lot of love on Instagram as well as Facebook, so I greatly appreciate you in all aspects of social media. To the new clients, greatly appreciate you as well. It's been awesome working with you and making those new connections. So if you're tuning in for the first time today, welcome. And I hope that you enjoy and continue to tune in each week. So our subject today really is it's in you. So what does that mean? You hear that a lot of times. People are like, well, you already have it in you. You already have everything that you need. Well, what does that mean? I want to look at it from one angle today. And I want to talk about looking at what came before you, kind of your bloodline, your history, your family. So I want to talk a little bit about that today and how it actually ties to money. Because a lot of things around money we're taught, for one thing. We've seen it through friends and family and how they've executed their financial journey. And a lot of how we move forward, our mindset to know that we're capable of greater, comes by the influence of whether it's our parents, our grandparents, or how we were raised, the friends that we keep, the family that are in our inner circles, and all those things really shape and form us. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my family and really taking a pause and stepping back to see what in the world made me decide entrepreneurship was the road or the path in which I thought was best for me. And I realized it was in me. When I stopped to examine where I came from, who my grandparents were, and identified who I was, what I saw, what was I being influenced by, it was being shown to me all along. I just didn't recognize the blueprint that was being laid out in front of me. And tapping into that began to be something very powerful, especially when I lost my father earlier this year. And I realized there was so much greater in life that I hadn't tapped into. And life is too short. What am I waiting for? Why not jump into it now? These are the things that God has called me to do. Walk in them and walk boldly in them because the Lord is leading. Well, I want to share with you a little bit about my family. So I want to talk specifically about my grandparents. I had entrepreneurs on both sides. Both of my grandfathers had their own businesses and were able to provide for their families in a very powerful way. One of my grandfathers was a farmer in specific and had chicken coop, sold the eggs, I believe even sold some of the farm animals as well, as was some of the crops that were being grown in the land. And my other grandfather was, I guess, larger in a sense, businessman, in that he started a lot of businesses and he only had an eighth grade education. And I was able to actually develop a relationship in my early adulthood years that remained constant, remained powerful until he left this earth, which I'm very grateful for. Some of the things that I watched him do, even as a child, were just amazing. As a minority male in the South, he owned a grocery store, he owned a laundromat, he owned several properties. And this was in a time in which it wasn't easy to do. And this was a man with an eighth grade education. And if you look at what he did, he stood up against all odds. He didn't make excuses in that process. He knew what he wanted to do and he went after it. And he was a man of great faith. And that was very powerful in how he led his children as well. Now, some took to it and some didn't. And so you have that dynamic when you have family. Not all children are going to do everything that they're shown. And that's okay too, because we each have our own journey. But I want to share that story simply because there's something in you as well. There's something in you that you know is greater than where you are today. Now, if it's fear that's holding you back, then let's pause and evaluate what are those things that you're afraid of and sit with those feelings and be okay with that because you're missing out on being a blessing. And I say that because there's something that was already placed in you, one, to bring abundance to you and your family, two, to serve and be a blessing to others. That's where I chose to step out on faith earlier this year to really create Compassionate Strategies, which is my company, so that I could serve in a way that I was called to, in a way that would be a blessing to others, teach them how to step into financial freedom, to reach their financial goals. What does that look like? Well, for me, I do three things right now. I'm working on a fourth that I shared with you when I initially went live with everyone to share Compassionate Strategies was full gear. Well, the things that I focus on with my clients are really very specific. One, a lot of people hear, you're a single mom. How in the world did you leave corporate America? So they want to work with me to figure out how they can accomplish that too. And that's not just single mothers, that is typically women and men in general that want to know how do you leave corporate America? So I do work with clients one on one to teach them how to create that financial structure, those habits, so that they too can accomplish those goals. Whatever that looks like to you. I'm not a business coach in the sense of I teach you how to run your company. No, I don't do that. But I can help you to set yourself up to where you can begin to create that path to financial freedom so you can accomplish your dreams and serve in the way that you've been called to. And the other thing that I do is what I call the stock market startup. And it's really just getting people acclimated with learning how the stock market works, identifying their first few stocks that they may be interested in purchasing, or even interested in using the paper money to see how does the stock market work. So we get that lined up, we get you set up so that you feel comfortable with beginning to understand what does that look like, how to do the research and where that goes. The last thing that I do with people is help with setting financial goals. And a lot of this comes from my background, which is project management. I helped companies over the last several years to identify ways to improve quality while finding cost savings. So I flipped that and now I do it with individuals on a one-on-one basis. And hopefully within the next month, we'll be able to launch the course so we can do it on a group basis and help more at a time. So I wanted to just encourage you today to just stop and think about what is in you. What is it that you've been called to do to serve others? And watch that be a blessing, not just for them, but for you and your family as well. So take a pause, sit in those feelings. Sometimes it brings up some things that you don't want to deal with, but you got to get through that to get to the other side so that you can serve in the way that you've been called to. And I wanted to share with you, really, a lot of you have asked in detail, what do I do exactly? So I wanted to share a few of the things that I do also. So if those things interest you, you're welcome to DM me and we can see if we're a good fit to work together also. So today, continue to be grateful in all things. Know that you have been called to greatness and it is already in you, and tap into that. There are people waiting for the gifts that are in you. And I can say that with authority because I'm learning more and more every day. People have been waiting for the gifts that are in me. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same. Trust what you already know is in you. Share it with the world because you were not called to sit on that gift. So trust what's in you. As always, if you keep listening, I'll keep talking. And thank you again for all the likes, the shares, and the DMs, the encouragement. I hope that these moments, these little midweek nuggets, continue to uplift and encourage you. And I hope you have a wonderful Winning Wednesday and enjoy the rest of your week. Make it a great one.